No, copyright.
What?
Hi everyone, welcome to Indigo. God, why am I doing that? Hi everyone, welcome to GameGorgon. My name's Indigo.
No.
Nope, if you couldn't tell, today we're going to be going over a Pathfinder 2nd Edition build of Batman. What generation of Batman? You'll have to figure that out.
Just like our previous builds, we have some caveats to give you. We're going to give you some goals for the character, and then we're going to lay down the law and tell you exactly what you have to pick in order to play Batman. Any other choices deviating from this are objectively incorrect. Right? This is a character build. We're trying to replicate a character in a game. We are not trying to build an optimal character. We are just trying to get the feeling of Batman into a character and make it as playable as we can.
The feeling is the key word here.
Yes, this is not verbatim. For example, you're not going to have a grappling hook gun. That doesn't exist here. You have a grappling hook, but you have to throw it like a pleb.
Batman is one of those characters who have been so iconic throughout the years and the way that they have built Batman. Batman is past a legendary character. Batman's level 20 and then some, and then he's fighting level 5 characters.
Right. You're not going to feel as OP as Batman. And also, the other thing about Batman having been around for so long is that there have been so many things written into his kit. He's just a dude, so he has all of these tools at his disposal, and having those tools in this character is very important. So you have to get those things. So you have to make those choices intelligently. We're gonna go over some of those things. Also, because of the technology differential, some of the things you just can't have, like a Batmobile.
So what are some of the focuses then? Cool. What are some of the goals, or whatever we just said it was called?
We said goals. Let's talk about the goals. First thing is that you're wealthy, you're famous, you're an entrepreneur. That part of your,
the Bruce Wayne
side of things.
Okay.
So that implies that you are cordial and courtly and noble in this time frame. And it also implies that you have a lot of money, and that's not a concern for you.
So right off the bat, you can't play that character.
We'll get there. There are some ways.
Well, I mean, okay, let me rephrase that. There are definitely ways to do that, but unless your jam's here's 50,000 gold.
Right, no. That's not what we're trying to do. We're gonna get as close as we can within the confines of the rules.
Yep.
The second thing is a tragic backstory. I think that is probably one of the most formative parts of Batman's existence. Therefore, I think it needs to be addressed in the character.
Sure.
Regarding Batman's combat style, there are two things. One, it's mostly hand-to-hand.
Yes.
Again, we have access to tools, but we're mostly hand-to-hand combat. Second thing, fear is a weapon. When you fight Batman, if you are not overcoming Batman, if you're not going toe-to-toe, he makes you afraid of him. Batman doesn't, knock out an entire group of people. Batman knocks out one group of people and then looks at the rest of them. That's what I think this character should fight like. Outside of combat, which is a lot of Batman, you are a deductive, investigative, intelligent person. Your mental faculties are nothing to be trifled with. And as a matter of fact, that is how Batman defeats a lot of opponents who should objectively be able to just overwhelm him. Definitely not an idiot. And last but not least, we already touched on this, but you have lots of cool gadgets. We're gonna go over some of the things that you can pick up that will emulate some of the Batman's most common gadgets. There's, again, tons of options. If you Google...
Batarang.
Yeah, Batarang is gonna be one of them.
The number one I feel that Batman has to have, shark repellent.
I was actually looking at shark repellent and trying to find something for it just for the memes, and I couldn't find anything that would work as shark repellent. I'm sorry.
We have failed. We have failed.
I'm sorry. The last thing, this isn't a goal. This is kind of a caveat for this build.
Okay.
Batman is, like we said, he's got strength. He's hand-to-hand combat. He's agile. Obviously, if you've ever seen any Batman anything, you know that he's can jump around and climb. And he's smart. He's perceptive. He has every character trait in abundance. All of his stats are a 20. Period. This is a difficult thing. You're not really going to be specializing. You're trying to be as well-rounded as you possibly can. And so you're not going to end up being that strong as a character. That having been said, I think that kind of makes sense. Because think of Batman surrounded by his colleagues. He's the only one there, or one of the few people there, who isn't a specialist, who doesn't have some overwhelming power in some regard. Superman has strength. Batman can't match that strength. The Flash has speed. The Batman can't match that speed.
Sure.
And I think that is exposing one of the most important parts of this character, is that you're not going to be able to lean on the character. You have to be a good player in order to play this character well. Does that mean that the character is bad? I don't know. You tell us. But it is not a beginning character for sure.
How many levels are we talking about to get to this to reach these goals?
We're going to roughly 10.
10 3/4 of a level? Like, what does roughly 10 mean?
It means 7. We will have a level 1, level 10, and level 20 character sheet in the show notes if you want to take a look at those. We're not going to talk about every single thing in this video because some of them are just class features that you can't avoid taking anyways.
Oh, we're okay.
So like you alluded to, there is not a great way to build wealth into your character.
Correct.
That is not how the game works. You start with a very specific quantity of gold.
15.
Yes. Even if down the road they add something that allows you to start with a little extra gold, it's not going to be the amount of gold that allows you to be Batman.
Yeah. You don't start the game owning a company that your father built.
Exactly. And if that ever becomes a background, I recommend taking it for every character ever.
No matter what you
want to be. No matter what you want to be. It's this Pathfinder session of just trust fund babies. We can take the noble background in order to get the flavor of being a member of wealthy society.
Okay.
But again, that's not going to give us any extra money.
With this, you're going to get the courtly grace feat, which allows you to make an impression or impersonate a rich person, basically. And you're going to be using society to do that.
Now, because there isn't an easy way for us to start with just infinity money,
okay,
you're going to have to make it yourself. We are taking Rogue as our class.
Controversial decision.
Surprise, surprise. This is going to help us make money because if you go back to our video where we talked about earning an income, where we talked about downtime activities in general, the more skills that you are proficient in and the higher proficiency you have in those skills, the easier it is for you to find a job and make more money when you do that job.
Okay.
Every downtime, you will be able to make more money.
Okay.
That's as close as I think we can get.
At third level, we're going to take experienced professional. You're going to be able to use lore to increase your income. With this also, if you critically fail while doing this, it only counts as a failure. And once you reach expert in lore, you actually earn double the income.
And that's expert per, skill that you could potentially use to earn an income, right? Last but not least, and I thought I'd just put this in here because somebody's going to experience it. If your GM just says, oh yeah, you can start with 50,000 gold if you want to play a Batman character, just take it and don't ask questions. Ignore everything we just said.
Yeah.
Number 2 is your tragic backstory.
Okay.
One of the most extra mechanical things that we've had to do. This has nothing to do with the mechanics of the game. Losing your parents doesn't give you a +2 or a -8 to. It's literally just your backstory. You can just say that happened.
As most of you probably already do.
Yeah, everybody has an edgy backstory.
Like 80 to 90% of the people I play with, both my parents just died.
There is a background from the Fall of Plaguestone that might work.
The nobility makes more sense.
Yeah, because it's mechanical.
Yeah, and then not only that, it's like your parents dying. Yes, that is causing your character to turn and become what they become.
Right.
At the end of the day, there isn't a roll that is required on, dead parents, roll for it. You know what I mean? But there is rolls or conversations that need to happen when you have to deal with the higher society, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So, the aspect of the backstory, having tragedy, that's just something you have to write as a player.
Right. And last thing, and this is probably going to be the most controversial thing I say all video.
I mean, you already said Rogue as the class. So.
I did. You don't have to have this as a part of the character. You can play a Batman with parents. You can. It will not affect the way the character performs. It just affects the way you roleplay the character. Make whatever choices you want. Don't roast me in the comments.
So what you're saying is technically wise, it doesn't affect your character. But the story, if you're playing Batman, then you have...
If you want to be like, I am Batman, you should have
I believe that's why you clicked on this video.
I don't know. Some people might just want the mechanical side of it. Who just, do whatever you want. Okay, combat time. Punch people in the face.
Okay, so monk.
No, rogue. We already said that. You are kind of right, because we will dip into... Monk in order to get Powerful Fist, which is going to remove the -2 penalty that we would normally take for making lethal unarmed attacks, and is going to bump our damage die for our unarmed attacks from a D4 to a D6.
Okay.
One of the things that you need to do in order to make the character viable and still play as a punchy.
Okay.
So in order to achieve this fear-focused combat, we are going to go with a ruffian rogue. And that's going to open up the door for a lot of features that allow us to make people afraid of us, have that fear translate into flat-footed, and then deal sneak attack damage when we attack. I think you actually talked about the first one previously. You're next. I think you picked this, right? If you down a creature, you can target another creature that you see and make a demoralize check at a +2.
Well, demoralize is great because demoralize is basically making them flat-footed for you.
Yeah.
And so that's a benefit to it, and the fact that you're getting a +2 bonus helps you.
Exactly.
The caveat to this, though, and this is the thing that I think is going to make it hard for this Batman build is that you're the one that's going to have to drop them to 0.
Exactly.
And so the thing is that if you're Batman and you're going in and punches and you're only doing D6s,
you're gonna have to get in there at the last second and make that last hit. Fortunately, this isn't the only way that we're going to be doing that from now. We're gonna get critical strikes and other stuff that allow us to do that. Brutal Beating is a level 2 feat, and this is also going to give us a status effect when we hit that we're going to be able to later turn into flat-footed.
Okay.
Whenever you critically succeed a strike that does damage, that creature is going to be frightened 1. Of you. That currently, the way our character exists, does not do anything fancy. It's just frightened. But we also pick up Dread Striker. Which this is the feature that turns fear into sneak attack, basically. Any creature that has the frightened condition is also flat-footed against your attack. It's not just fear that you created. So if other players in your party are also causing the fear condition amongst your enemies, you can take advantage of that just as easily. We're also going to be picking up Intimidating Prowess just to make like demoralizing as a whole easier. We're going to get a +1 bonus to our circumstance check, and we're going to ignore permanently any like language penalties that we might have incurred. So basically this is just like, it's just the fact that you're there. It doesn't matter if you say something intimidating. Now when we get to Master Intimidation and when our strength reaches 20, that bonus is going to go to +2. And then there are a couple more things that just play off of the whole like fear situation that allow us to take the fear and use it for a little bit more than just sneak attacking. Terrified Retreat allows you to give a target the fleeing condition if you critically succeed at a demoralized check against them and they are lower level than you. So it's basically like, hey, you're probably not going to win. I'm objectively stronger than you. Run. And then they run.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. And then you combine that with Intimidating Presence, and it's just like, you're not saying anything, making this demoralized check, and then they just start running from you. So you basically just...
Run. Sorry, that song popped in my head.
And then Battle Cry, super good. When you roll initiative, for a free action, you can demoralize any creature that you can observe. Let's start off and make somebody flat-footed. And when you're legendary, you can use a reaction to demoralize someone when you just critically strike them. I honestly, when I started this, didn't expect to find this much stuff here and like this much synergy around fear. But there is. I think it might be pretty fun. Probably a little hard, probably pretty fun. Fourth goal, Master of Deduction, Master of Investigation. This is another big reason. Do you think that
my monocle.
Yeah, do you think that every detective wears a monocle?
Yes.
This is another reason we picked Rogue. Another reason I didn't pick Monk. Monk Perception doesn't get that good. Sure, you can, justify making a wisdom-based monk and that will push your perception up, but the training in perception doesn't go up that high. Rogues get level 13 legendary perception. That's super strong.
Yeah.
And very early. There are like a ton of feats that you can take that are like crime scene investigatey.
Sure.
Like there isn't like...
Yet.
Yeah, right? There's a couple that kind of make sense. Like Experience Tracker kind of makes sense. And it also scales, which is really nice. So you can track at full speed if you take a -5 to your survival check in order to do the tracking. When you get to be master at survival, you don't take the -5 penalty. So you basically just track at full speed all the time. If you're legendary, you don't have to re-roll your check every hour. Now, the way this is worded, it says you don't have to re-roll. So I think if you get a roll you don't like, you can re-roll after the hour. I think if you get a roll you do like, you don't have to re-roll until something drastic changes about the trail. Like maybe you're chasing someone through like a snowy biome and then it turns into a forest biome or like a desert. Magic exists. Deserts and snow can be next to each other.
Yes.
Then you have to re-roll, and that's GM discretion, so talk to your GM about that sort of thing. The legendary perception, though, is the thing that is most important, because that is a solid amount of checks that you have covered, and you get it so early. Last but not least, you get lots of cool gadgets. Make whatever choices that you want. Here are some options. You have Batsuit. Batsuit isn't impenetrable. Batsuit's just a Batsuit. Medium armor is good. We have proficiency in that because we're ruffian, so that's nice. Another reason we couldn't go monk, just throwing that out there. Batarang, at level 1, we can take unconventional weaponry, which is a human ancestry feat, and that's going to allow us to be able to have access to shurikens.
I think this is the first time we've said that we've chosen a human.
Yeah, it was on the screen.
Ah.
There's a lot of stuff that's on the screen.
Oh, I see it now.
It was on the screen before. If you want a grappling hook, you can pick up a grappling hook. If you want a smoke bomb, you can pick up a smoke stick. That actually fits a little bit better with the idea of what Batman's utility belt looks like, which is like long, slender, like little yellow things.
Yeah.
And you want to be able to pick a lock, get some thieves' tools. Like, pretty self-explanatory. Those are just some options. Literally, I found a blog post that said, here are 50 things that Batman has at his disposal, like 50 little gadgets. And I'm just like, nope. You might be able to homebrew some of them if you want, and your GM lets you. That'd be fun. Make some of them like partially work, like grappling hooks versus the grapple gun.
Versus shark repellent.
Don't bleed in the water. How about just not getting yourself into that situation? Please?
That's not how it happened on the episode with Batman and shark repellent. Just throwing that one out there.
There was an episode of Batman and Bart Simpson.
No. And a giant shark, and he had to use bat repellent because he was on his bat
repellent?
Sorry, God damn it. Shark repellent while he was on a helicopter, the bat helicopter, the Batcopter.
It's another thing you're not going to be able to get is the Batcopter.
Batcopter.
I don't know if I said this. The Shuriken's the Batarang.
Yeah.
You just flavor it to look like a bat. I admit, there are some holes here. I think that there will be more features coming to the game that allow us to fill some of those holes. I think maybe, like you implied, the investigative thing might be filled in a supplement book down the road. Because I feel like it's missing. You know?
I honestly feel that there could be, like, I know you want the rogue route to get that investigation aspect to it, but I do feel that if you're looking at Batman, you're looking at his combat aspect. I do think Monk fits combative-wise way better.
If you want to be just the combat side of Batman and focus on the martial stuff and ignore all the like investigative stuff, you want to be a fighter that is like Batman, pick Monk, Dip, Rogue. If you want to be full Batman, pick Rogue, Dip, Monk. Because you can pick Flurry of Blows. This isn't 10 levels worth of content.
No.
You know? You can dip back into Monk and take Flurry of Blows. You can take the movement speed increase, which I feel like would fit Batman pretty well. You can take a bunch of stuff.
I just feel that with Batman's combat-wise, it's very much not necessarily just beating someone down to the ground. It's also tripping. It's also getting getting those maneuvers around, right? And I think that especially if you're using medium armor, you're taking all of the medium armor, you're taking dexterity bonus or penalties against your acrobatics and stuff like that. So it's
I think they're the lowest tier. You don't? Am I wrong?
Well, and I mean, I think that there's some aspect of magic that you could also blend in here.
Sure,
you could
to supplement some of the technology stuff that is objectively missing because we are swords and shields.
I think maybe you know what would be interesting? A monk sorcerer dedication feat, like going that route and go divine blood. And be able to take some of like the divine spells like obscure and like charm and some of those spells where you're able to basically say when Batman is fearing someone or doing that, it's actually him casting a spell.
Yeah, there's tons of like with The Witcher. People were like, oh, you should have gone wizard because there's actually a book somewhere that he reads and like it is a learned thing. It's not in his blood. Like there are tons of different approaches to all this stuff. If you have one that you think would work better, why don't you let us know what it is down in the comments? We would love to hear it. No fighting allowed. Just, let's...
They did very well on The Witcher.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah. I think everyone did well on The Witcher.
It's honestly, when I tell you just like, oh, don't beat us up, it's more of a meme at this point.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are great.
Yeah. You guys are good. I do want to see what I would love to see what everyone else's build for a Batman. And if you guys make a better one or like a really good one that we see that's like, wow.
Yeah, we'll redo this video and be like, hey, this is what Crew should have said.
Yeah, so go down there, do that. While you're down there, go and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't hit the bell icon unless you want to see all of our content. And I mean all of it. There's a lot of it. And then go to Twitter and talk to us. You can talk to me on Twitter at IndigoQT.
And you can talk to me on Twitter at KrogQT. Or you can talk to both of us at all these social media things down here. One of them is a Patreon if you guys want to support us. There's actually a bunch of you now, so thank you very much for that. It warms my heart and fills me with anxiety. We also have a merch thing. It's not down here. Maybe we should add it, remove like Facebook, which I never post to personally.
I think we post to Facebook because I have it set to post to both Twitter and Facebook at the same time. But that's... I don't interact on it.
No, I don't either.
I literally will like, every once in a while I'll get a notification like, you've got a message that's been there for 3 weeks. And I was like, oh.
We could potentially replace it with our merch link where you could buy some merch that's themed after the stuff that we do. We sell laptops.
Nope.
Now.
Nope.
We sell
laptops.
We
don't. Again, stop getting us sued. It's a sticker.
We sell. Look.
Nope.
You see, and then it even you can see that it turns on.
Nope.
It comes with an account.
Bye everyone. Please don't. No.
We come into the account and it has all of my personal data on it.